Oh. Okay. Oh, hello. I'm calling the Park and Recreation Commission meeting on January 13th. It's 6:30 p.m. Roll call. Marmion present. Oligoff present.
Fryer present.
Jimenez present.
Lenz present.
Covino present.
Thank you. And we do have one commissioner absent. David Tress. Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Citizen communications.
Minutes.
Oh, I already did the minute.
I thought we did agenda first. No?
Oh, excuse me. See, I'm slipping. Okay.
I think we did.
I think I jumped.
We did do the
Okay, adoption of the agenda. I'm jumping right ahead.
I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, old business. Follow-up regarding additional community park trash receptacles. Staff?
I just put that on there to kind of close the loop following our discussion about garbage in the park as a follow-up from rentals and reservations and general use of the park. So we did go ahead with Public Works and order several additional receptacles to be placed out there. So as soon as they get them, they will be installed.
Okay, great,
Good?
great. Anybody have any comments?
Good.
Okay. New business after-school program analysis, and you all have attachments. You want to give the background on this, Noreen?
Sure. So we mentioned to the commission previously that we were doing a program assessment of our KinderCare and Club Rec after-school program. The first step in the process was to distribute a survey to the parent community and give them an opportunity to speak on behalf of their experience in our programs and let us know what they felt we were doing well, areas where they felt we could use improvement. So we circulated the survey starting in October and left it open for several weeks. We got about a 53% response rate. And then following the survey, we had a parent engagement meeting here mid-December where we provided the survey results to the parent community and gave them a further opportunity to have a collaborative discussion about the vision of the future of the program. So we had about 15 or so parents present and had a very good dialogue and process about what they would like to see for the future of the program. Some of that has been summarized in the handouts and the attachments that were provided to each of you. One thing that I do want to call attention to in the survey results was we included as the first question our mission statement that we established as a commission and a department, and asked parents how well they felt we were meeting those objectives. And you can see the results there on the
Can I
second
interrupt you a minute?
Sure.
Is there any way we can put this on the overhead so the public who's watching possibly can?
I don't have it tonight, but it is available on the city website.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you
Go
want
on.
to?
Carry on.
Yeah. I can speak about the results if that's helpful for anybody watching. I'll reiterate our mission statement and then speak about the results briefly if you feel like that will be
Okay.
helpful. So the mission of the Parks and Recreation Services in Brisbane is to engage and inspire a healthier community by providing fun, inclusive, innovative, and safe parks, facilities, and programs. We asked them how well we were achieving these goals in the respective areas. And so fun, 49% agreed that we were reaching that objective. Inclusive was 53%, innovative was 31%, and safe was 64%. So when we facilitated a conversation with the parent community, we asked them to be mindful of these things in proposing suggestions for the future and how we might be able to improve those numbers going forward. the following the parent engagement meeting, our next steps were to meet with staff and discuss kind of how we can implement some of the quick wins in the new year. Staff has been working on some of those things, and we intend to engage the kids in the process and find out some feedback from them about what they would like to see in the program and how they would like to spend their time while they're at KinderCare and Club Rec. So we are in the process of doing that, and then intend to implement some of the larger scale changes over the next several months.
Okay. Anybody have any comments?
No?
So I have a question, Noreen.
Yeah.
So innovation or innovative was the lowest at 31% agree. What dialogue was around that, and what's going to be done about trying to bring that number up from 31% at least to maybe 40 or 50%?
Sure. So as part of the program analysis, I'm hoping to kind of benchmark our program against other comparable programs in neighboring cities. So I think part of being innovative is finding out what the trends are within similar programs and see how we can incorporate those ideas within our program. Some of the things that the parent community suggested was engaging more of the Brisbane population, the community of adults who have maybe a special skill set or a talent, and employing them to come on as either a contractor or as a part-time employee, maybe once a week to provide a specialized class or program, whether it be like woodworking or painting, and also collaborating with local organizations like San Bruno Mountain Watch to maybe have like a hiking club as part of the program, giving kids more choices. So those were some of the ideas that came out as part of the conversation around being an innovative program.
If I may,
Yes.
could you just give us a brief overview of this program? I'm not terribly familiar with it. What's the size of enrollment? What are the hours? It's after-school program. How late does it go, and so on?
Sure. So the KinderCare program is from 2 to 3 o'clock. And how many kids? About 25 kids, and that's exclusively for the kindergarten age group. And then from 3 to 6 p.m., we have kinder through 5th grade. And I think total enrollment, it's broken up between monthly, and then people purchase like a daily pass where they can drop into the program as needed. And so incorporating all of those participants, there's about 75, 80 kids.
And what's the size of the staff?
We have 7 daily.
And we don't have 75 kids on a
Right.
daily basis.
Right. So we have, I mean, the staff fluctuates a little bit. I would say anywhere from 6 to 8 staff people on site, on duty throughout the week. But we don't necessarily have all of the kids there every day. As I mentioned, some of them are just daily participants that may drop in once a month, twice a month. So it depends.
Thank you.
Through the chair, it may be of interest to meet with someone from the Littman after-school program because they've already engaged the community and worked with local organizations, and some of those things might have kind of a connection. So Michelle Chan or Renee
Right.
might have some ideas about that.
Great. Thank you.
But the one thing, too, we don't want them to get everything down there, because then they won't look forward to middle school.
But there's,
Because then we have the stuff in middle school, and then they get bored.
That's true.
And then they don't participate.
Yeah. And there can absolutely be some differentiation between the two. One of the things Stuart just reminded me of, we are trying to provide more age-appropriate segmented activities instead of lumping all of the kids into one large group activity.
Good.
There's definitely some value in that, and we want to have that cross-age group interaction, but we recognize that the skill set of a kindergartner versus a 5th grader is very different. And so
True.
we want to make sure that we're being mindful as we're programming.
Sounds good.
And I was at that meeting, too, and there was also stuff brought up that if there's just kickball, do I have to play kickball? There's another choice to play, so they don't, get stuck doing that all the time.
Right.
Because, some kids, I don't feel
won't
like
be able to
doing that
choose.
today. I'd rather stay in and color. So,
True.
How many parents were at that meeting?
There were about 15.
It was a good meeting. Any other comments?
I'm just glad this was done because I know the parent community was very interested in providing feedback. So
Yes.
this is wonderful.
Yeah, and the consensus that we've received is that they're happy that they were given a platform for their voices to be heard and to be engaged in the process and how their kids are in our after-school program and what type of opportunities they might have through the program.
Excellent.
So we'll continue to engage the commission as we move forward through the final steps of the process. But overall, it's been it seems well received.
Excellent.
Good. And we also talked about that facility, too.
Yes,
We're still
and the
outgrowing it.
facilities subcommittee is scheduled to meet next Monday, and
Right.
I'm assuming that that might be part of the
Right.
conversation. So, and then the last thing I'll mention is that the response from the parent community as part of this process has been they would like to see a continual evaluation and assessment of the program. So we will do it either biannually or annually and keep that ongoing.
Right. Okay, thank you. Reports. Chairperson, I really don't have anything to report. I would like to just bring up, and maybe this is on written communications, in our pamphlet here, we got the magazine. I think I'm going to bring this up ahead of time. And I noticed on page 11, there's a really nice public restroom company here. And one of our wish lists, we talked about a bathroom up at Lippman. And if you have this, look at it. It's really rather a nice little restroom, and it looks like it's a turnkey installation. So I don't know what the price is, but I don't know if it'd even be $150,000.
I don't know what the other one cost. Do you remember, Stuart?
I think the all-in cost of the other one is about $80,000. So one of the challenges with the one at Lippman that may make it cost more is just where the sewer line is
Oh, uh-huh.
and how far you have to run the sewer line to it and how far you have to run the water line. And I think what we have is our budget number is about $100,000
Yeah.
for the one at Lippman.
Okay.
But this looks really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, what we will do is we would spec it out and go out to bid just as we would. We wouldn't do it as a sole source because that's not the way
Yeah,
from a public sector perspective.
Right.
yeah. But I just said, that, like you said, it was a turnkey installation. It looked pretty reasonable for something up there. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Worth looking at.
Okay, so I'm going to move to subcommittees. Subcommittee meeting reports.
Day in the Park Subcommittee met on Monday. It was myself, Bonnie, Renee, and Noreen. We discussed that this year is going to be our 30th anniversary and that we want to go big. We discussed a time change, and we're thinking of changing it from 9 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. this year, shortening it up a little bit.
Yeah.
The Derby starting at 8 a.m. We'd also discussed a date change because it was brought up that the date in October coincides with the start of soccer and I don't remember the other event.
The Blues Festival in
The
San
Blues
Francisco.
Festival. Okay. So we picked Saturday, September 24th, tentatively at this point. Hope that works for everybody. We discussed reconfiguration of the event and in part using the street as they did in the Parkside pop-up for sort of a street fair event, kind of give it more of a street fair feel, leaving the park open for families to come down and picnic, throw out their blankets, and of course it would be utilized by some of the the kids' activities as well. But just, and having a band again this year, and really having that open space would be a little bit more conducive to people sitting down, enjoying the music, rather than it kind of all being hidden and there being no grass area to enjoy the park and enjoy the event going on. Noreen was going to check with the city council and the city regarding getting a bit larger budget for the event since it's our 30th anniversary, and she was also going to check on the street.
Don't look at Stuart. He's
Yeah,
not
the
looking
street
at you.
closure. We're just throwing it out there.
Whoa. We put in for more money at last year's budget, and the city council said, no, don't make it my fault that the money didn't get allocated. It was a city council decision that they didn't want to allocate the extra $5,000.
Yeah.
So I think maybe what you want to do is between now, and we'll be taking the budget obviously back to the council in June, but we'd like to have it all put together in April. Maybe between now and April, if the committee can meet and
Yeah.
talk about the different prices. I was just putting in information from the actuals from 2014, 2015, so not this last go around, but the day in the park before. And I think we spent actually $27,000 on the day in the park, even though we had about 22 budgeted. So just to give you an idea that the day in the park was about, and I haven't looked at this year's year's cost yet, but
We didn't
as we go through it, I think just start like listing out what you want to have and explain why, as a 30th, you want to have it as that, so that way when it goes to the city council, they have as much information, and then it may also help to have a member of the committee on the night that we make the presentation on that item on the budget, that somebody from the committee is there to talk about it, because I think that might help provide that level of confidence that the commission was fully behind it and it wasn't just something that was talked about in passing.
Yeah.
Okay, continuing. We're also going to try and do the teen area again. We think that with a little more advanced warning and preparation that we could make it better. And if Old County Road is closed, there's more continuity with getting from the park. I mean, it'll be connected by the street fair area, with the main area being on one side, the teen area being on the other. Nobody's crossing against traffic to get over to it. It's a bit safer from that perspective. So we thought we'd try that again and see how that goes. We also, one of the items we talked about getting again this year, and hopefully we can do it as a zip line, and seeing, Noreen's going to work with the city on seeing what's safe, what'll work, and if we can get that. We wanted to do a band again this year rather than the recorded music we did last year. Also possibly get some live performers in the teen area, just kids from the community, hopefully. Some new things like we talked about last year, but it didn't happen. We didn't have enough time. Dog costume contest and maybe a little parade, trying to get more of the community down there and involved people from other aspects. Dog parks big in the city, so would be fun. Maybe some other contests and activities. And we also discussed having a theme this year for our event. Since it's our 30th anniversary, didn't come up with anything specific. We might ask the community for help there.
Or the commission.
Yeah. Yep.
And
that's
one
it.
thing, too, we're hoping that the skate park will be completed.
Yes.
And
By June?
we're hoping. So that would be, and that's why we're kind of thinking that if we could close that whole street area and have the activities there, and then the park's open more, there's a band, it kind of like they do with concerts in the park, too.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. Have it look completely different. So does anybody have any ideas about the theme?
I was wondering, what's the 30th anniversary? Like diamonds are for this, or...
Oh,
That's why I was wondering what it was.
So a theme that comes to mind, I don't know how it works in, is called, what comes to mind is Rising Stars.
how?
That could be anywhere from a talent, kid show talent thing to other things, I don't know, just that what comes to mind, rising stars.
Okay.
So it's just something to start with.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Did you have something, Kevin?
Yeah, I just had a question. I just had a question, and this is about shutting off the street. And we did that, a couple months back, and there was some controversy about that. And the aftermath of that, did that all settle down, or is there going to be some resistance within the community if we close off the street? I think it's a great idea, and I went to that last event, and I liked it. It was nice. But I know that there was resistance within the community, and
I think anytime there's change, there's always people who are concerned about how it's going to play out. I thought from what my understanding is, it played out well. That people they're closing the street worked. There's other ways to get in and around the town. We keep Valley open to Park Place to Park Lane. So I mean the traffic circulation works. We kept the village open for that. We had it closed off right after the village. So I mean all that. I think it worked well. As a matter of fact, when they started talking about it for Parkside, the Parkside project, I went to the city manager's office. I said, "Guess what? We're going to want that for the day in the park as well." So the city manager and public works director is well aware, even before that was raised. That
and we talked about that, having that electronic detour sign
Further
and having it
when you come in.
closer so the people can, when they're coming to town, can come down Valley and then onto Park and come in that way. Because I guess the sign before for the Parkside up, that it wasn't placed and people started coming in and they had to turn around and come back. So we discussed that in the meeting.
Yeah, if it's placed more in like the Christmas tree lot area, it catches people before they turn into town. And so they won't be inconvenienced quite as much.
Okay, thank you.
And we met on concerts in the park. And we figure 6 concerts if we get enough contributions. And we would start July 8th and go through August 12th. And we talked about having a reception for the people that donate, like we did last time. We talked about possibly having the food trucks again and see if that would work. We talked about T-shirts. If possibly we had T-shirts and could sell T-shirts, that would be a fundraiser. So next steps will be start picking groups, and hopefully Steve gets the letters out early enough for the contributions so we can see how much money we have to work with. So that's pretty much what we
also discussed the donations and how they're handled.
Yes, exactly. The donations, we talked about that too, and possibly if money was left, if it could be a starting fund for the next year so that we would have that money there that would help us get a start. And because people do contribute thinking that they're contributing to the concerts, and they expect that money to be spent, and if it's not, we should be able to save it for the next time.
Yeah, it's one of those, this is a conversation we've had often. It's one of those challenges that some years we raise more than we need, other years we don't. Again, looking at, as I said, I just did this today, putting in all the numbers, and in 2014, 2015, I think the concerts cost about $5,000 to $6,000 more than we had raised.
Did it really?
It did. So, I mean, it's one of those things that, as I would recommend to the commission, as I've done in the past, is figure out how much you want to spend, put that in the budget, put in what we hope to raise in donations, and if it doesn't quite meet it, there's a number of things that the city provides as services to the city, and if you, as a commission, think that concerts in the park is one of those things that we should be providing a benefit to the city above and beyond what we can raise in donations, we should do that. If you think 6 concerts is the right number and you have good themes for those concerts and has very good draw, I would imagine the city council isn't going to worry whether it costs $2,000 or $3,000 more than we raised in any given year. So I mean, I would be hard pressed to say that only stick to your donations, because the concern is what happens if you have another recession and the donations don't come in, does that mean you're going to reduce the number of concerts that would be available to the public for that reason? I mean, that's my concern.
Right.
I'm just really trying to stick that closely to the two of them.
What's the budget we've had for the concerts?
I think we've budgeted somewhere in the $10,000 to $12,000 range, and I think we raise somewhere in the 8 to 10.
I think this discussion came up last year when I joined, because there was, in just going to the subcommittee meetings, there was a big push to do a lot of fundraising. And it seemed the goal of fundraising was, well, if we raise more money, we can have more bands and we can extend the season. And it was kind of said like, well, no, raising more money isn't really going to get you more music nights, because not from you. It's basically just going to be absorbed, because it already costs us so much to put these on. So it's just more money to support whatever.
Right. I mean, there is a
So
number
I
of
just
costs.
felt it really needed to be clearly delineated.
I mean, there are a number of costs outside of just the bands themselves. There's the staff time to clean up after the park.
Correct.
There's the cost of putting up the banner and buying the banner and all those kinds of things.
I just think we need to know what we're raising money for.
And also, my other concern is just the amount of money that's available to be raised, because, you have, right around that same time, you've got Best is trying to raise money. So, my concern is, if you sit there and say we exceed how much we were expecting to raise, that, it might be good to use that money in that year for another band, as opposed to saying, let's hold it off. Let's hold that money till the next year for our bands. But to say, let's extend it, like we did this year, we extended it because the last band we thought we had a good band, but there were some changes going on in the band at the time, and I would say that even I, who is tone deaf,
Had a problem.
could tell that was not the quality that we would hope for. But, and it's a shame, because, I think the band, when they submitted their demo tape, it was a different band than that showed up at that night, because they had lost one player or two players between the demo tape and the time they came into town, and they didn't tell us. And then the day after that band played, the lead person who worked with us quit the band. He was that embarrassed by playing on that night. So, I mean, those things do happen. I think if we can raise extra money, I think if we're going to raise more money in a given year, let's talk about using it in that year, as opposed to saying let's use it as seed money for the next.
Noreen gave us a nice list of what they did when she worked for Menlo Park. And we have a nice list of bands, different bands, what their themes are, a breakdown of it. And so we have something to start to work with.
Yeah.
And I think that'll help a lot when we get ready to start choosing what type of music.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a couple of notes here. One, I wanted to say the reception is a really good idea, and this last year, for the first time, Sister and I were donors, and we went to the reception, and I think that's a really important thing for building ongoing donations for this project. I do think we have to be very careful when a donor gives money to something, to a nonprofit. They want to know that gets used and doesn't get absorbed someplace else. And I know there's, back when I was on the commission before, we had some conversations about this, not rolling over money, that's surplus money from one year to the next and so on. But I think we have to be really very careful to honor the intent of people who give money to make sure that money is spent on the program, and not ending the year with a surplus and it gets absorbed back into the general city budget. And I do, I followed a little bit the add-on concert that we had this year, and I know it was a bit of a dud for reasons that Stuart explained, but I do think sometimes if you add something on at the very tail end, that can come off as a little afterthought and not as well planned. So I'm not sure that, running the course of the season and then, we have a little extra money, we'll throw another one in. If that's the best, I'm not sure that's the best long range.
They did that last
planning.
year.
Yeah, they did that last year, and it wasn't. It didn't turn out, but maybe it didn't turn out in part because of the misfortunes of the the musicians who were chosen. Food trucks is great, you know.
We tried it once before, and let's hope this time it works.
Yeah,
It's nice to have a choice of what you're going to eat.
Yeah, there were two or three food trucks down there. I'm thinking of 2-3 years ago, and it was really, it adds to the experience. And now I'm going to put a little plug in for an idea which you'll probably hear me talk about ongoing, and that is the banners in town. So we have the capacity to put banners up in town, and right now we have I should be closer to the mic. Right now we have the banners for the holidays. That's the only banners the city owns. It would be great to have Concerts in the Park banners that run while Concerts in the Park are happening, and Live at Mission Blue, my own project, Live at Mission Blue banners, and any other kinds of things that are celebrating what we do as a community as it happens. When the new library comes, maybe a new library banner. Now, I know that costs money, and there needs to be some research done on it, and it's probably something that has to go to the city and be passed in a budget. But, I'd like to introduce that idea and sort of keep that going, because I do think that that's a nice, addition to celebrate things we do, like Concerts in the Park, or the 30th anniversary of Day in the Park, and so on and so forth. So those were my comments on that.
That's a good idea. Day in the Park and then Derby. They could, intermix them.
Yeah.
Very good. And everybody knows, and it has the date. I like that.
I like that we got an early start. I think if Steve starts sending out letters early, that'll really help a lot, because then we'll know where we stand money-wise.
Maybe we can put that stuff in our budget.
Maybe.
We add it. Anything,
No, that's all I have.
any other subcommittees?
Yes, Public Art met with three of us, Bonnie and also Kevin was there, and Teresa. And so what I would like to do is hand over the report to Kevin, because we're happy to have him back.
Exactly.
This is Kevin's baby. And so
I think he started the whole idea.
Oh, yeah, he did. So I'd love for you to give the report.
well,
You did, Kevin.
I've had a lot of help along the way, and maybe I would just start by summarizing it. So in my first time on this commission, we started the idea of looking into public arts ordinance. And public arts ordinance means that on new development, basically on new development, 1% of development costs have to go towards public arts, either on-site public art if it's a big development, or for smaller developments in lieu of funds. We spent, I think, 18 months researching it, studying other cities, and then eventually wrote a draft. The draft then went to the City Council. They looked at it. They made some changes. It went to the Planning Commission. They vetted it as well, finally back to the City Council, and it was passed. There's a second part. So we have a public arts ordinance in place, and there are things that are just beginning to trigger it, small things that are beginning to trigger it. There are two parts to that, though. The second part is the implementation guidelines, and that is which have not been written yet, and that's the part where we figure out how we're going to go through a decision-making process. Either when a developer says, yes, we have a big development and we're going to put this public art installation, how do they interface with the city to get a green light, say that's okay, or, actually that's really ugly and we don't want it. And perhaps more importantly, monies that are spent in the in lieu of fund, which would be applied to murals in town or whatever. And so that's the part that we've been working on, and while I have not been a member of the commission, I have been going as a stakeholder to these subcommittee meetings to give my input. We spent the last 3 meetings, is it we've done now?
Yes.
3 meetings going through another process of just the process of educating ourselves about how other cities go about implementation guidelines, and how some of those would apply to us, what's the things that are particular to Brisbane. And I think that then at the end of that, we have another meeting, I think, still to complete this cycle. Then we'll start to take a look at how we, now that we understand how the various ways that it's done, how do we now engage the community what's a vehicle by which we can engage the community, both to educate them about what the public arts ordinance is, and also to get input back from them about what would be a good method for the city of Brisbane to implement public arts funds once they start to collect. So, is that about everything? That sum it up?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
beautifully
Very
stated. Nice off-the-cuff presentation.
You put me on the spot.
Okay, was there any other subcommittees? I know we have some coming up next week.
So setting subcommittees, I guess that's when.
The trails, did we meet this last month or the month before?
No, we're meeting on Monday.
So the weather
Monday.
report for Monday is rain.
I know.
Oh,
And the weather report for Saturday is rain. Weather report for Sunday is rain. I'm not quite sure that's the best day to go tromping around looking at trails.
so should we play that by ear for Monday if it rains? What do you?
Well, my concern, of course, is that just because it doesn't rain Monday, if it has rained on Sunday, the trails will be equally as muddy. It might be best if we can just pick another. And another. No.
They just had a
Season.
weather thing for the month of January. There's like 2 days it's no rain.
Really?
Good.
Yes,
That's good.
2 days
Oh, wait,
no
wait
rain
until
for the whole
December.
month.
What do you?
No, I was concerned about the rain as well, so.
No, 7. They showed the whole month.
Yeah, I'm looking at, the week after is also Saturday and Sunday's rain. Yeah, the challenge, of course, is just because it's so dark so early that doing it after work is hard.
Yeah.
Well, we
Challenge.
were going to meet because Lyle was going to the Trails Development meeting, and when is that happening?
It's the following week.
The following
Yeah.
week?
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to do it indoors and talk about that aspect of it, and if it doesn't rain, I guess we could go out. But I mean, my just concern is that the trails will not be very walkable that day.
Whatever you guys would like.
Yeah, because you're going to be out of town.
Yeah, I'm out of town
Out of
that
town.
day, unfortunately. Lyle, what works for you?
That's a good question. We also chose that day because it was also a holiday
Right.
as well, Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
The next day that would be a good holiday day potentially would be President's Day, a month later in February, but that's after. But it's also the day after Valentine's Day, so I don't know how important that is. But I guess based on weather, it would not be advantageous to go on the trails. What about facilities, though?
I mean, facilities, we're going to be driving and walking to the facility, so I think that one isn't, I'm not as concerned
Okay.
about the facilities as I am about trails, because trails is just an outdoor day.
Right.
Whereas facilities, it's getting into a car, then driving, and then getting, not going to the teen center because we do
Well,
wet
yeah,
there too, but
let's just leave them both and we can drive by the trail. I'm specifically talking about like Crocker Trail.
I mean,
You two are also on facilities, I see. So
Yeah.
it could be combined, perhaps.
Well, we were kind.
well, we were doing one at 9
Yeah.
to, and then one at 1.
Right.
Yeah, we were going to do them back to back, but just with a break
Yeah.
for lunch.
Were you going to visit the facilities, or
We were going to go
talk
visit the
about
Yeah.
facilities.
Go
So
visit
maybe
them.
just one trip and kind of.
Yeah, well, that's why I say
Trails,
drive by and you
yeah.
can kind of
I
look.
think you
Right,
could
but then I'd have
just
4
touch.
commissioners, and that would be too many.
Can't do
Well, because
four.
I'd
I'm
have
not gonna
2
be there.
threes.
Okay, where? Let's see.
Who's on it?
Who else is on facilities? Well, it's just.
Oh, wait,
yeah,
you
just
know, the
two of
person who's
you.
on
It's just
facilities-
it's just going to be those.
2 for facilities, because the third person is no longer a member of the
Right.
commission.
And I'm not going to be there, so
Through
it'll
the
be
chair.
you.
Yes.
So we are probably at the next meeting going to have a process where we,
Yes.
yes, and I've got my little subcommittee chart here, and I've kind of tagged some of the things that I might be interested in. And in fact, I have tagged, and this is jumping the gun, I know we do this next time, but I have tagged recreational facilities. So would it, if that recreation facilities thing happens between now and the next meeting, and that is indeed something that I want to get on, I would be a little bit behind the game.
Do we want to wait?
Unless I can just tag along on that meeting as a free agent, if we don't go over the rule of three.
Right.
I mean, is that something to consider here, or am I throwing a monkey wrench in your plan?
Well, obviously you're throwing a monkey wrench into the plans. But what you say raises a good point. It may, the facilities isn't as important to meet in January because, that one's more setting up for the budget. So our next commission meeting is on the 10th, at which point I would imagine we're going to pick a new chair or vice chair and reestablish the committees. So we could do a facilities after the 10th, because that's just really talking about the facilities and looking at them as far as what kinds of budget requests there are. But the question is on the trails. If the subcommittee wanted to give input to Lyle as our representative on the other one, that one should take place sometime between this week and next.
Is that meeting on the 27th? Just because that's what I have, and I want to just make sure.
Well, maybe we could cancel that and just give Lyle our input right now. Is that what you're saying?
You could do
Can we
that
do that
as well.
You want to do that as the commission? And
Yeah, and that way the Trails Committee can all get together and do the trails in February when maybe it's a little less rainy.
because then he could come back with the feedback
Right.
of what you discussed. How's that?
It is the 27th, yes.
How's that, Lyle? How about if we did that?
That would be fine.
Okay. How's the rest of the commission feel about that?
Sure. Yes.
You want to talk, and let's just discuss it now and give Lyle our feedback to take to the Trails Master Plan? Okay. Who would like to? I'm going to start with you, Teresa.
Pass me for now.
Oh, Kevin, do you?
I'll pass as well. I'm still getting up to speed.
Okay. Bonnie, do you?
I don't have any specifics because I haven't gone to all the trails, so I don't know anything about
Okay.
them. You and Karen probably have more input.
Yeah, one thing I would like to start seeing some design on Crocker to get it paved. Mm-hmm. And I'm specifically saying the one part that would connect the ridge going to the back northern part that goes around coming up towards the up by Lippman. So then kids could, up at the ridge or whatever, ride their bikes to school.
So you're talking more about that area that connects the ridge to the Quarry Road, like
Correct.
behind the ridge.
Yes.
Because the Quarry
I
Road
just
is
call
paved,
that
and
the-
you're talking about that
Yeah.
spot
Yeah.
that's across the street from the Quarry Road, and then it
Yes.
goes into the trail, and then it
Yeah.
rolls up to the ridge
Yeah.
area.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the back part. Maybe start with that. I think it'd be great if the whole thing got paved. I think that would be wonderful, but I don't know if they'd have to do it in phases, but that's my input on that. And some of the walkways that are still trails, they just need to have some maintenance. I know we just need to put the railings on Bicentennial and the lights are up, but I think some of their old,
Actual steps.
the steps might need to be repaired or painted with a white strip. We said that before.
Some have wood and they can be slippery, so I want to rethink that. For me, I'm just thinking about the connectivity between central Brisbane and the Ridge, as you mentioned, in any way. Connectivity between central Brisbane and Sierra Point, and safe crossings, safe bike paths, anything that promotes people being able to access the Bay Trail from Central Brisbane and connecting through to the future Baylands project. Right now, I feel that when I'm taking my daughter to go to the Bay Trail, I need to drive her with our bikes in the car, and I'd like to be able to ride from my house, but it doesn't feel safe at this point, so I think that would be important.
That's why I think the whole thing should be paved, because it could even go through that tunnel all the way over into the Baylands. You know,
That's true. That's true.
I mean, that's future
Yeah.
way down there.
I think paving Crocker would be brilliant. I think people would really use it. I don't know if they're going to be talking all about trailheads, but trailheads at the Ridge, up on Trinity, I think some official looking trailheads to mark ways to access the mountain would be excellent. I think that's about it.
And the other, I know the maintenance on Quarry Road, that could always,
The maintenance on Quarry. Oh yeah, that's true.
that could be smoothed out. So there's just some ideas.
Through the chair, I just wanted to circle back about the idea of paving Crocker Trail, and just put into that mix that there may be some concern for joggers, that joggers don't necessarily like to jog on hard pavement, and so maybe it needs to be a combined. Maybe there needs to be a jogging aspect to it as well, or at least that's something that should be thought about, rather than paving it over for bicycles, which is great.
Yes.
And gives a lot more access, a lot more fun access to that. But keep in mind that that may not be what the joggers prefer, and certainly could do both.
Yes, I like the paved and the kind of dirt path combination.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving along. I think we'll hold off on setting subcommittees until our other commissioner comes, and then we'll check on all these subcommittees again and see what they want to join. So we'll put that on next agenda. Okay, commissioners.
Before we move off, did we agree that the facilities then would be moved to February? Okay. So,
Okay.
okay.
Now you don't know what to do.
Well, it's raining. I know what I'm not going to do. So.
Okay, commissioners. Any commissioners have?
I did have one idea, and you can stop me if it's crazy. But as some of you know, I'm an amateur photographer, and I was wondering if we wanted to do a group picture before the next meeting here, that then the city could use for whatever, to put a face on it. I'd bring camera down and set it up on a tripod.
Great idea.
And
Wanted posters or anything like that.
wanted posters, if you guys wanted to do that, I'd certainly be happy to set it up. We maybe come down 15 minutes early and wear your spiffiest tiara or whatever. And,
I saw the tiara.
Oh, my tiara.
you wear your furs or whatever. If you guys think that would be a good idea, if the staff thinks that would be a good
Then we
idea,
could put in the star
put it in the star, whatever. Put a face on.
on the commission.
commission.
Yeah.
I love that idea. It's great.
Great idea.
Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's nice.
You can kind of hide behind.
Let David know. Okay, great. Any other commissioners have any comments, report or anything? Okay, staff.
Hi. Okay, so I have a couple things, and then Noreen has a couple things. Wanted to discuss and thank Karen for her suggestion on the new adult fitness calendar that Noreen put together, and it is for the winter-spring session, and it is in the Star, and we've also made flyers. So those are about I don't know where we have them here at City Hall. They're kind of all over. They're up at the pool.
Thank you. I've already taped it to my wall.
It's really nice.
It is.
Also, we have a new photography class starting tomorrow. I spoke to the teacher today. Right now, we only have 2 people signed up, which is kind of a bummer. And it doesn't seem that if she doesn't get at least 5, she's probably going to cancel it.
What is the minimum age on that? Because there might be some high schoolers. Is that possible?
I don't think there was. I think she was,
Yeah, I don't believe there was a minimum age.
I think she was
And what's
open
the
to
time?
teens.
It's
Teens are
every
okay.
other Thursday up at Mission Blue from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
So people could, like high schoolers or whatever.
Yeah. She's taught youth for 20-plus years, so I'm sure she would not be opposed to having young adults.
And if I could just make a plug for Marisa, she's the one who's teaching it. She first came to my attention when I was putting together the photo show View of Brisbane. She worked at Sammy's Camera at that time, and I got to know her well, and she really was great help, almost a mentor-like to me. I learned a great deal from her. She's wonderful, personable. It would be a great opportunity for anybody interested in sharpening their photographic skills to work with her, if I can just put in that plug.
Yeah, and I've had several people that have called with interest, but they just haven't signed up. And she does have 2 sessions, so we're hoping if this one doesn't go, then maybe people will sign up for the second session,
Maybe
which
it's
is
the weather too. If it's raining real hard, will you go out?
Yeah, it's just Mission Blue, though.
And
No.
this is a digital.
It's
photography.
digital.
And
yeah.
do you know what the focus of the class is? I mean,
I think so. The description was, it was. I think it's teaching people how to really get the best out of their digital photography using different lighting. And she wants everyone to bring their booklets, and so she can go over things within the booklets and show you exactly. I mean, it's a lot. I think a lot of people were afraid that it was for more intermediate people, and it's not. I spoke to her today, and anybody, beginners that don't even really know what they're doing. She wants people to come in because, as Kevin said, she's very much a mentor and she wants to help people get the best out of their digital cameras. So if I still had a digital camera, I would love to go. But I dropped it in the lake, so we don't have that anymore. So yeah, we're giving it until tomorrow morning. Maybe some people might sign up overnight. We've had the signs up on the signboards for the last week, and it has generated interest, but we just haven't got the sign-ups.
So you just need 3 more people.
3 more people.
And what's the price of it?
It's $170. Again, it's 6 classes, but they're 3-hour classes. When you break it down, it's like $10 an hour.
Okay.
So that we have that. And then the last thing I have, we do have a few new classes that are going to be starting soon. We have Tahitian dance. That's going to be starting next Monday up at Mission Blue. It's Mondays and Wednesdays. She does a monthly pass. I believe it's $45 a month. And she does a youth to 13 and then 13 and above adult classes. So the youth class is from 7:15 to 8:15, and then the adult class is from 8:15 to 9:15. And she's done this for a really long time. She's, quote unquote, a professional Tahitian dancer. So I haven't seen her work, but I think she's been doing it for a really long time. And then we have the Collective Camp Boot Camp. They are starting a yoga, Collective Camp Yoga. It's going to be starting February 4th, and it's going to be at the community center. What days was it again? Monday?
Thursday nights.
Thursday nights from 6 to 7.
Great.
So that's starting February 4th, so we're trying to generate some, interest in that. And people have been clamoring for more yoga classes, so we're trying to fill that void.
Is that going to be with a card as well?
It's a 6,
Or is that a session?
6-week class, so
Okay.
a 6-week session.
Is she still doing her boot camp in the morning
It's
because of the
it's
rain?
not going to be. Yeah, she is.
Okay.
It's not going to be dawn though. Oh my gosh,
Val Cunningham.
Val Cunningham. So it's just combined, it's a part of the collective camp.
Okay.
But yeah, so Dawn is doing I actually came into work really early one morning and I drove by and it was raining and they were out there doing the boot camp. So
Oh, my
they're
gosh.
out there doing it.
You're amazing.
So yeah, so that's on to Noreen.
I have a quick question. So Monday and Wednesday, Tahitian dance at Mission Blue. No more Zumba? Isn't there a Zumba class on Monday evening?
No, Zumba is at
center?
community center.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And that actually, that class is on hiatus right now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, she was supposed to be back, and she has not come back yet, and so we're not 100% sure where that is going.
Oh, okay.
So we'll keep you posted on that.
I just had a couple other things that I was going to share with the commission. We had our winter camps through Club Rec over the winter break, 2 weeks. There were 3.5 days each, given the placement of the holidays on those weeks. And the kids had a great time. We put some photos on our Facebook page. They did a field trip each week. And so we had a lot of positive feedback from the parents about the winter break camps. One thing regarding our preschool program, so we had one of our staff retire, Linda retired, and so we've added on a couple of new additional staff, and given our staffing levels, decided to expand the preschool program because almost every year we have a wait list and it's a lottery, and we've only had a maximum of 20 kids in the past, and so we went ahead and expanded enrollment to 24, so we've been able to accommodate the people on the wait list, and going forward, if we're able to maintain our staffing levels, we'll continue to leave our maximum at about 24, 25 kids to really meet the need of the community. So that's new. It's made a few families very happy, so we were happy to do it.
I have one other thing on the note of the Club Rec. On the 25th of this month, the BES, the schools are closed for in-service, but we are going to go ahead and open up a day camp. For that day for the kids, it'll be like a regular camp day from 8 to 6, so the parents that have to work on that day won't have to find something to do with their children. We will go ahead and open up a one-day day camp for,
Good,
just
good.
in case people haven't heard about that, we're doing that. And it's online right now, and they can sign up.
Good, good.
And lastly, just a plug that Live at Mission Blue starts next weekend. Well, next week actually with the school program during the week, and then the first official concert is next Saturday night. So
Yes.
Looking
Can
forward to
I
it.
speak just a little bit
feel
about
free.
that?
Sure.
Just to underscore that. Yes, and things are going very well for it. The first bit we actually open with the school program, which is on Thursday. That will be at Mission Blue Center for the elementary school, both elementary schools, Panorama and Brisbane Elementary School. And then we're going to go up to Lippman, and we've added Lippman this year. And the group that we're doing for that program is the San Francisco Guitar Quartet, which is a fairly young group. I think they're all still in their 20s. Young and fresh. They're very, very excited. And then opening night for the main concert is on Saturday. Tickets are selling very, very well. I'm happy to say it's going to be a fantastic program. So buy your tickets.
To the chair, and then I think that we also were able to open second youth sport programs, right, or teams, so that we were able to have more kids involved.
Yes, for the basketball, we were able to take all of the kids on the wait list and
Right.
add some extras, and we're going to have an additional team for each age group.
That's wonderful.
Okay, great. Commission matters. Anybody have any commission matters?
No.
Okay. Written communications, I don't have any. Anybody? Anything forward? Okay, the commission calendar. Well, we're going to have subcommittees.
So let me ask you then, are we going to just revamp the whole subcommittee list and kind of start from
Yeah,
scratch?
I
Or are we
think
just
we
going to
are.
have the two new people add themselves in? What do we?
I think just add
Well, we'll add them in, but what happens if they have really an interest on something and it's already full? I don't know if anybody would want to give up a,
Then maybe that's just a discussion at that
Yeah,
time, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We can just go subcommittee by subcommittee and discuss. And then there might be a couple that we don't.
yeah,
need
I don't think
anymore.
we need any more, yeah. Kind of saw that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's on. When did Stuart say we start talking about the budget? Now? Can we start talking about what we'd like to see in the budget? Should we start our dialogue? Yes?
Can we just get back to the commission meetings, subcommittee meetings for a moment, though?
Yeah.
Because I think Stuart had said in an email that we were going to set meetings in this. So I'm wondering, are we not going to do any meetings for subcommittees this month, and we're going to wait till we're full?
Well,
I'm just trying to figure my own calendar.
we
Just
set
trying to
them
clarify.
the last time, at the last meeting,
I
yeah.
think the one where I was specifically talking about, and it's one that's going to be sticky, is via email, we said we were going to do the next public art meeting we were going to set it at this
Oh, that's
meeting.
right.
So that's why I was just wondering.
It's going to have to be discussed
At the next
at the
commission
next
meeting.
commission meeting. So there's not going to be one before the next
Okay,
commission
so
meeting.
not this
Yeah,
one.
because we just canceled both of ours,
Correct.
the trails and the facilities. Does anybody else have any subcommittees?
No, I don't.
It was just trails and,
was just
There is rec programs was scheduled for January 25th, and now Lyle is the only person on that
Okay.
subcommittee. So I don't even know if we should just wait for that until after the next
Yeah.
meeting too.
Yeah.
So let's postpone that one too,
Okay.
I think.
so all of them in January, so that's the,
Well, the Habitat for Humanity, I haven't heard back from them yet.
Good, I have it on the
I gave
calendar,
them-
but I've not heard.
I gave them 2 dates, and I haven't heard back from them
Okay.
yet, so we're still waiting on that one. And then, yeah, that was the only other one that we had scheduled, so I say that we just postpone and just wait till after the next meeting
Okay.
to reschedule all of those. We tried.
okay, I'm canceling these right now. Yeah, I was just thinking about the budget. Do we want to start talking about anything in the budget as the commission?
Maybe we should next meeting?
Just kind of,
As far as priorities and.
Yes.
you know? What do you all think?
Through the chair, it may be a good place to start at the next meeting to talk about the budget is to give an overview of how it works and
Right.
what kinds of things, because there will be some of us who are new,
New,
or
yeah.
getting up to speed. It's an important discussion, and so maybe the way to start it is to have an overview about how how we
Okay.
interact with that process and what the general areas are that we might
Good
be
idea.
looking at, so that we can kind of absorb it, have a little think about it. We're not having to, those of us who are new,
Okay.
just think on our feet and
That's a
and
good
then the
idea.
following meeting, we could
Okay.
maybe get into the nuts and bolts of it. Would that be a?
Yeah, that's a
I think
good
that's a
idea.
good idea. Also, we might want to consider, if we're doing a goal-setting meeting this year, to do that before, so we can develop our priorities and
Right.
talk about that. So maybe we are a couple of months, that might put us too close to budget, but we might want to schedule that in, even if it's just an afternoon or something.
Okay.
It was helpful before, I thought.
Right,
Right.
right. Okay, so,
Especially since we have a brand-new commissioner.
right, right. And then would you also give the new commissioners all the paperwork on what's the,
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm going to
before.
schedule an orientation for both Kevin
Okay,
and
good.
David.
okay, good.
It'll probably take place between now and our next commission meeting.
Okay, great. So what else do you see on the agenda for next?
Well, I think Stuart had mentioned we're going to talk about changing the guard. So that should probably be on the next agenda too.
Okay.
Does that sound?
Well, I was just thinking, maybe we should do it in March, so the new, because David missed this meeting, just so he can, kind of
Okay.
see, at least he'd be in one meeting, they can kind of see what goes
makes
on and that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because he doesn't know all of us yet, and then the changing. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
just am just,
Completely fine.
because Kevin kind of brought that to my attention, because I thought we were going to do it tonight, maybe. Change the guard. Change the gavel. I'll show you how to use the gavel.
So then I just have subcommittee changes, budget overview process, and the goal setting meeting.
Do you want to do goal setting during the commission meeting, or you want to do it as a separate meeting?
We usually do it a separate meeting, don't we?
Well, I think it was setting a date for maybe that,
okay.
because I think that's how they did it last time, and then that was completely separate.
Okay, that works.
So we can just talk about when we want to do it.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so read that again, what's going to be on the agenda?
Subcommittee changes, adding and deleting and getting stuff off of there. Budget overview process and setting a date for the goal setting meeting.
Okay. And just a little a summary of what the goal setting, so the new, I know you've already been on one, but, or David, that's coming on.
Okay.
What that entails. Okay, well, that kind of looks like a wrap, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:35.
Put it there.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Chair.